Okay, let's make a start. Good morning, everyone. Before we start, could I get everyone who's online to turn your microphones off, please? Feel free to have your cameras on, but turn your microphones off because we can hear you here in the lecture theatre. We'll get to talk to you in a minute. I'm just waving in the camera up there. So we'll get you to turn your cameras and microphones on. So in the second half of this morning, so we can get to know you as well. But for now, if you could keep them off, that would be great. Let me just double check that I've started all the recordings. That's going. And so for you guys in the lecture theatres, if the red light's on, steady on, then that means the lecture is being recorded, just so that you're aware of that as well. So let's make a start. Welcome to the Master of Speech Pathology. It's been a few weeks of excitement waiting for this moment, so we are all very happy that you're here, very happy that you guys are joining us online, and yeah, once again, welcome to the Master of Speech Pathology 2021 cohort. My name is Sebastian Döltgen. I'm in the role of course coordinator for the master's degree. You've had a couple of emails from me, and I'll be your contact person for everything course related. And one of the first year topics as well. We'll go through that in a little while. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the Ghana people as the traditional owners of the custodians of the lands that we're meeting on today. Flinders University, in particular, the Bedford Park campus is built on the land of the Ghana people. And I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and yet to come. And likewise for anyone that is on indigenous lands anywhere else in the world, we pay our respects to their traditional owners as well. So welcome to Flinders, welcome to the Master of Speech Pathology. We've got a bit of a mixed bag of introduction, overview, orientation for you today and on Thursday, which we hope sets you up on the right track to hit the ground running next week when we start off in Pbl straight on 9 o'clock on a Monday morning. So hopefully this is helpful for everyone who's here, but also for everyone who is overseas. So we'll go through a couple of slides first. We've acknowledged the Ghana people as the traditional owners. And here's just a quick overview of where everyone's from, as far as I'm aware, because it's been a bit of a funny year for this, for knowing exactly where everyone is. So on that note, if you could please update or just check in the system that your address is the current one that you're residing in at the moment, so that we know where you are and that we can correspond with you accordingly. But we've got students joining us from Hong Kong, from Singapore, from Canada, from Japan, from China, and of course from Australia and South Australia in the majority as well. So welcome to all of you. If I haven't forgotten anyone, please forgive me and let me know so I can add the flag for the next orientation session. For orientation, we have a number of resources at Flinders. There's a lot of online happening this year, but there's also a lot of face-to-face activities both at the Bedford Park campus, so up the hill from here, or over at the Sturt campus, where that's sort of the home base of the College for Nursing and Health Sciences, which speech pathology is a part of. So we're really a bit of a satellite to the college here at the Medical Centre. You'll find out pretty soon that everything at FMC is up the hill in relation to FMC. So the lecture theatres in health sciences are just up the hill, the hub's up the hill, good food and coffee is up the hill, or it's over at Sturt. So this is sort of how we live here at FMC. Just for housekeeping, this is lecture theatre 2. There's 3 on this side, and there's lecture theatre 1 on that side. The 1, 2, 3 are kind of representative of how many 100 people fit in. Not in COVID times, but it's the smaller one's one. This one's the sort of medium one, and lecture theatre 3 is the big one. And that's where the Bachelor of Speech Pathology are having their orientation session this morning as well. So you'll find some of your future colleagues will be just next door having their orientation session as well. Do go and check out the Student Hub activities and the activities at Stirred. You've got a coffee voucher for the Stirred campus, but there's lots of activities up at the Student Hub as well. And we'll take you for a bit of a tour and walk a bit later today. Speaking of which, Lillian, I apologize, just introduce you to Lillian Coles as well. Lillian is one of our topic coordinators and placement coordinators for your first placement. Lillian will speak to you in a little while as well. But just hi, and thanks, Lillian. Now, I just heard the little bing sound there, and so I'll just quickly check in case someone has sent a message online and make sure that you guys can hear us. The PowerPoint slides are not changing in the video, Robert. It looks like you can see the welcome slide. No, it's changing now. Fantastic. Okay, very good. Thanks for letting me know. I just go back here. Okay, so that's good. So welcome. Have a look at the orientation for lots of different activities across the campus. Just as a little bit of an agenda for today, we'll start off with our introduction section here this morning, and we'll sort of load you with lots of information that's hopefully helpful in some way. We'll have Jane Bickford and Catherine Linnett-Young join us in a little while as well to introduce themselves and tell you a bit about their roles in the speech pathology programs. We'll have a bit of morning tea, followed by an orientation session to Pbl. So Pbl being problem-based learning, which is kind of the modality of learning that we've adopted for the masters for lots of different reasons, but primarily because we can see how it produces really deep learning and quite an accelerated pace, which for the masters is sort of ticks two big boxes because you only have 2 years to get to entry-level speech pathology practice. So that really works quite well, but Jane will tell you a bit more about the underpinnings of Pbl after morning tea, and then we've got lunch for you as well. And then after that, you're free to explore orientation week activities. Same on Wednesday, and then on Thursday we go into a bit more detail about what speech pathology is all about, what practice areas we work in, and sort of start you on a journey of developing your personal identity as a speech pathologist. Speech Pathology Australia as our governing body is really quite big on this now, and so are we, and really we'd like you to start thinking about your role and your identity, your professional identity as a speech pathologist from really early on, and so that's why it's part of all week already. And we'll have a bit more orientation on Flinders Learning Online and placements in particular. I know you probably have a lot of questions around placements and the compliance checks and all of those things, so Lillian will address many of those on Thursday. And we'll have Wendy as our placement coordinating support person come in as well and unpack how placements work and what is possible and what is not possible or only sometimes possible on Thursday as well. Okay, so that's our agenda for this week. For those who are here today, you will have seen the map. We're sitting down here right at the bottom of the hill, hence why everything is up the hill from here. You might have parked in car park 1. That's sort of our biggest car park and the one that's kind of closest to the medical centre down here. So if you come through here, through the tunnel, then you'll have to enter through the level 4 entrance. On that note, I'm aware that I don't know what happened this morning, but we had it all sorted. We had weeks of conversations with SA Health and FMC as to what exactly is going to happen today. And then when we got there this morning, everything went out the window. So we are continuing to work this out, but it's most likely that you will have to show your student ID card to get in, and you don't have to fill in the form every single time, or you do the same through the front entrance of FMC. There are various other entry points, but none of us are currently allowed to use them. So for that reason, we just have to go with level 2 and level 4 really for the time being. On level 7, which we'll show you later this morning, and we'll show you guys in June when you can join us online. On level 7 is our speech pathology department. That's where our offices are. This is where we'll meet if you would like to meet us. Sometimes sub-exams are held up there. So we'll show you. It's literally just down the corridor and up on level 7. I just heard the comments box again. Okay. So let me just see how we could maybe try this. Are the slides changing this way? Okay, so this is... Okay. That's really odd, isn't it? That it doesn't change. Because it should, because it's changing here and you're just seeing a copy of our screen. So I tell you what, I might just stop this sharing and share it a bit differently. Okay, so I've shared it slightly differently. I'm hoping that this will work. If I change this now, does that change for you guys online? Please say yes. Yes, thank you, Robert. Yes, Kimberly, fantastic. All right, so we'll just try and do this. Problem solved, hopefully. Okay, so zooming into FMC, you'll find us right up here in the college. I don't know what happened to the arrow, but we're right up here in the Flinders Medical Centre where the lecture theatres are, 3, 2 and 1. And really that's where most of your lectures will be, as well as just up the hill in the Health Sciences Lecture Theatre. We'll take you there for a little orientation walk a bit later on. So in terms of key locations, level 7 is where the speech pathology department is. We've got lots of the tutorial rooms that are spread around FMC on level 5, and as you go through PBL you'll get a hang on what 5E731 means and 75D 27.5. You'll find all of those rooms and you'll get across those in the first couple of weeks. The library and Flinders bookshop we'll show you later as well, so we'll just take you on a bit of a walk and have a look around together. And again, for everyone online, we'll do that when you join us in June. Obviously, Collaborate is becoming more and more of a meeting point and a location for us as well. So what you're looking at, what everyone online is on Collaborate, and what you guys are looking at when we're kind of getting out of the slide view is Collaborate as well. And some of your lectures will be online lectures for everyone, and so you'll be joining us via a link on your flow side to connect into the Collaborate session as well. As you can see, there's a chat box on the side where you can post questions and kind of interact with the lecture, but you see the slides and the bigger screen as they're being shared. All right, we've talked about housekeeping a little bit now. Toilets are just out the way around the corner, and then there's various coffee locations that we'll point out when we go for our little walk in a little while as well. We do unfortunately have to show you this video about the emergency kind of procedures at FMC, so bear with me. I'm just going to play this for just a second.
Hi, today I'm here to talk to you about the emergency evacuation procedures at Flinders University. This short video will guide you through what to do in the event of an emergency to ensure an orderly and safe evacuation.
All right, the principles of narrative unity.
When you hear the alert tone, please cease interfloor movement and await further instructions via the public announcement system or from the warden.
Okay, that would be our first warning signal. Please stay calm and I'll proceed with the lecture.
Make sure you look up to
When you hear the evacuation tone, please immediately cease what you are doing, pack up your personal belongings and listen to your lecturer or the warden for instructions on evacuating the building. Look for the green running man and exit signs and ensure you take the most direct route to exit the building while avoiding areas that may be affected by fire. It is important not to run when leaving the building. Lifts cannot be used in the case of a fire. Please use the stairs. Disabled, aged and injured persons who are unable to descend stairs should take refuge in the stairwell, ensuring not to block the way out. Staff will advise the fire service accordingly. Once you have exited the building, please move to the assembly point. Please do not return to the building until you have been told it is safe to do so. If you have any questions about this presentation, please ask your lecturer or warden.
Okay, there we go, we've ticked that off as well. The emergency assembly point for us here is just outside on the grassy area there. Okay, so introducing our staff, you can see we've got a whole list of people that be working with you throughout the next couple of years. Catherine Leonard-Young is our student experience coordinator. She will talk to you a little bit later this morning. Jodhana Mayo is our placement education coordinator. You'll have a lot to do with her as well. She'll tell you where your placements are and when you have to be where and how it all works. Jane Beckford is our academic lead. I'll talk to that in just a second. There's myself, Lillian I've introduced, and Lauren, Bianca and Jane are lecturing into the degree as well, and will share a lot of time with you in PBL and lectures and clinical skills workshops. So you'll get to know us fairly well, and we'll have personal introductions to you, at the beginning of the lectures as well. Some of the key roles, just so you know who to talk to and who to connect with for various things. I'm in the role of the course coordinator and sort of trying to keep everything together and going forward. So if you have any questions around overarching kind of things around the course, whether it be your progression through the course or any questions around what's going to happen next year, or about online learning, about PBL in general, do come and talk to me. And please, with everyone, come and talk to us as early as possible. If you've got just this niggling little question, please come and talk to us. Don't wait until it becomes a bigger sort of issue. We're really here to communicate as speech pathologists, communicate with you directly and clearly and openly and in a really supportive way. I think I speak for everyone on the team that this is a passion for us, a professional passion to share the speech pathology profession and grow the future generations. And so we really see this as guiding rather than guarding the profession. And so we're here to support your learning and support you in achieving that goal of becoming a speech pathologist. So we're with you, not in front of you, kind of guarding. So please make good use of our time and support along the way. Catherine's our student engagement coordinator. She'll introduce herself about the role, but just in general, she's sort of a listening ear, a person that you can contact if you've got personal challenges related to study, anything that's sort of going on in the background that might interfere with you being able to really focus and commit to the degree. So she can be there and be a listening ear and help with any issues and kind of point you in direction of support that's available across the university within the degree and also outside of the speech pathology department. And that goes for both everyone that's here, but also everyone who's experiencing challenges online, which is new for us as well. So please, feel free, everyone, to contact Catherine. But she'll talk to that in just a little while. The placement coordinator, Jodhana, she is responsible for all the sort of placement-related things, together with Lillian, who will be coordinating the first placement or two. So they are looking at finding placements, assigning students to placements, making sure things are going okay on placement, sometimes, you know, things are challenging, particularly on placement, so there'll be your contact people there to get in touch and get support. And Jane Bickford is our academic lead. Jane is coordinating the sort of academic side of the speech pathology curricula, both the bachelor's honours and master's degrees. We're just going through a review of our degrees and sort of, you know, trying to keep up with changes that are happening in the field literally at the moment on almost a daily basis. So Jane is guiding the department in that respect, and she will introduce herself in a little while as well. And then there's you. There's student representatives in the Masters that we're hoping that there'll be 2 of you here and 2 of you online that are sort of the conduit. We find that, well, we're practicing and we're trying to be seen by everyone, to be approachable and open doors and open for feedback and open for conversations about anything related to the degree. But we also recognise that sometimes it's easier to do that in an anonymous way and have a liaison person that can help. And sometimes it's easiest for us to kind of if we have a new idea, to talk to a couple of students to say, hey, we're thinking about doing this. What do you think? Is this going to work or not? Rather than always asking everyone about what plans we might have. And so from that perspective, it's really helpful having student representatives. And this year we'll have 2 that are local and 2 that are in the ether online. So if you want to think about that and perhaps send me an email and let me know and kind of express your interest, then if we've got lots of them, then we'll do a little election process. But if we've got 2 here and 2 online, then they'll be the ones that be the student reps for this year. Okay, so that would be greatly appreciated if you wouldn't mind. Now, Jane, we've just talked about the academic lead role, and I just saw you come in. Do you have a minute to come down and introduce yourself? Is this good timing? Yeah. Yes, we had a lecturer or 2 fall down them and be injured, so that's perfect timing.
Thanks, Seb. Welcome, everyone. It's great to see you, and welcome to people that are online. As Seb said, I'm the academic lead for the department. So it's a little bit different here at Flinders. We operate under something called the matrix model, which basically means there's lots of people doing lots of things. So when you think academic lead, you probably think, oh, I lead the department. Well, I actually don't lead the department. My role is really around strategising and thinking about curriculum and thinking about student experience and working with the team. And when I started in this role, I was like, how can I support the team to really develop and go in the direction that they want to go? So if you've got problems or issues or of a personal matter, really, Seb's your guy, okay? He's the course coordinator for the Master of Speech Pathology. I'm also a topic coordinator. So you'll see me pop up from time to time, and you'll actually see me this semester because I'm topic coordinating 9123, which is just the first of the problem-based learning topics that you have for this degree. So that's trying to give you a bit of a picture. But I think what I wanted to say is speech pathology is a really fascinating profession, and it gives you some skills and knowledge in understanding about communication and swallowing across the lifespan, what kind of looks normative, if you like, and how it might break down. So you're going to use these skills. You're going to start thinking about yourself within this. You're going to think about others around you. And it's a really rich degree. You're also going to think about what sort of practitioner you want to be. And as a speech pathologist, you're going to become a health professional that can work in a whole range of settings, and it could be from consultancy right through to actually seeing sick people in hospital. So there's lots of capacity within this profession. It travels, you can take it overseas, you can do lots of things, you can work part-time, the scope of practice is expanding, and that's something that's really exciting for the profession. We have a new professional standards that was minted January 1, so we're going to start sort of embracing that within our degrees. We've got a highly integrated degree program. You've probably already heard that already, so it's really hard to make it part-time because we want students to get the clinical or the practice skills at the same time as they're developing knowledge. And it's we're not into sort of the didactic, we're the experts here. Here's our knowledge into your heads. We're actually into you having a lot of discovery together, because we think that's a really rich way for you to develop your skills, develop your knowledge, and develop your practice. So maybe think today, throughout today, how am I communicating? How does communication impact my life? Something you very much probably take for granted, okay? And we'll start to give you more tools and understanding of what communication actually looks like. You might also like to think, well, how much does swallowing and eating and drinking influence my life? Probably quite a lot. So think about those things just today. Just start to sort of, reflect on that, because reflective practice is one of the key things that we have as a profession, as in our professional standards. So we have professional conduct, reflective practice, lifelong learning. So lifelong learning is something I really want you to be open to new experiences, be open to new opportunities. Sometimes it's going to feel a bit uncomfortable, but you also have to trust that the team is very skilled in supporting students in their development. We have a team of practitioners and researchers and educators who've got lots of practice experience, lots of experience educating, and lots of experience in research, okay? So we're going to try and support students and support you on that journey. And then the third thing is around speech pathology practice, which is in the domains of communication and swallowing. So be open to new experiences and opportunities. Sometimes it might feel a bit tricky and difficult, but that's okay. That's how learning happens and occurs. And then the final thing to say is look after each other and look after yourselves. This is a very intensive degree, but together you're really strong and united. So use your voice, use your student reps, ask your friends, and particularly try and support those people who are online. This is a new thing for speech pathology, using a lot more telepractice and things like that. So you're going to have that great sort of experience to test that in your own learning. And if in doubt, ask. We want you to keep the communication open with us. Okay? Did you have any questions about my role? So I'm really looking forward to meeting with you at 12 to talk about what problem-based learning is, and then over the coming weeks as we get you into the learning. Okay,
Sounds good. Thank you, Jane. That was really good timing. Cheers. Okay, so we'll see more of Jane after morning tea for more of an in-depth introduction to PBL. Student reps, please do consider that as a really important role within the course. Now, just back to the sort of practical side of things, we've had a few slides that were given by the university to tell you a bit about the essentials. I will post all of these onto the flow page so that you've got access to them as a resource. You'll find a number of links in those slides. Don't need to copy those down. You can just have an access to a PDF of that, and I'll put that up after this morning's session. But just a few essentials and a few things to have a look at. So everyone will need an ID card. Everyone that's here in Adelaide. We'll sort you guys out when you join in June. Everyone who's online. The accessing FMC is something that we've only just added this year, and I've made it yellow just so that it stands out a bit more. You'll need your student card to get into FMC level 4 and level 2, but it's also what you need for your returning, borrowing books in the library for exams, obviously, for printing all sorts of things. So do get a student card. You can do that online via Okta. Okta is sort of our hub of where everything sits, all the applications for flow, for your timetable, for your enrollment information, and you can order your card there as well. So there's lots of information on Okta. So do have a look there. Who's got an ID card already? You're all sorted already. Brilliant. Fantastic. Then enrollment, obviously. I know most of you are enrolled. There are one or two that haven't enrolled in all topics yet. So please make sure you enroll as well. You'll have access to the flow sites that way, and your timetable, and it will tell you where to go and what to do and where your resources are. So obviously you do need to do that. Textbooks, I sent out a list with a few of the required ones. As a degree, we're really trying to limit the number of textbooks that we say you have to buy. So there's really only 3 or 4 on that list that we highly recommend that you buy. The other ones are recommended resources. So for the anatomy text, for example, we're going to use the Merib textbook, and we highly recommend that you buy that one, because we know that from experience, we tend to go back to the anatomy textbook throughout the studies and into future practice as well. So it's worthwhile an investment. But if you already have a textbook from a previous degree that covers head and neck anatomy, then that's completely fine. If you feel like the Merib book is maybe a bit too much or too in-depth, or it's something that it doesn't feel right for your learning, and you find a different book that is more speech pathology focused, and there's a whole list of those in the topic book for 9121, then that's okay as well. Okay, so just sort of be sensible about textbooks. You've got the list, that's what we will be working with, and that's what we're recommending. But if you have any questions around that, ask your topic coordinators, and do have a look at those ones that are required texts, because that's really what we'll be working with. Okay. The library will have copies of all of those books for you to borrow and have a look at. The bookshop up at the Central Library will be able to advise on that as well. But then there's also lots of online opportunities to look at buying textbooks, especially if you're overseas. Now, if you are overseas, of course, make sure that you buy an English version of the textbook, or have a look if there's an e-version that you can get access to. So when you're traveling to Australia, you don't have to lug a suitcase full of textbooks with you. So e-versions might be a good idea. And to have a look, some of the editions are Australia specific for some of the textbooks. So it's worthwhile exploring that as well. Okay, so just keep an eye on that. For everyone who's here, car parking, you'll find car parking is an ever-present challenge at Flinders just in general. I pointed out car park 1 a bit earlier. I think I've got the car parks will come up in a second. So car park 1, all of the Flinders Uni car parks, you need to have a car parking permit, which is sort of like an e-permit, so you don't have a sticker in your car, it's just in the ether, and they read your license plate. And you need to make sure that if you have multiple cars that you might be taking to your uni, that you add your license plate for each of those cars into the system, and then on the day, just go to Okta and activate the license plate of the car that you took to campus, so that you don't get a $40 parking ticket. They're okay, and this week is free. Next week, I'm sure they'll be lenient, but after that, they'll be checking. Okay, so make sure you've got a car parking permit, which you can purchase at that website. We've got lots of buses that are linking the different campuses. Bedford Park Medical Centre, Tonsley is our sort of innovation hub a bit further down on South Road. So depending on where your lectures are, they tend to not be at Tonsley. But between Sturd, FMC and the main hub, you can take a little bus that goes around, and there's a timetable on the loop bus on the link on here as well. Okay, Wi-Fi, Eduroam is our our Wi-Fi, so if you turn on your devices and check for signal, usually the best one will be Eduroam, and you can sign in with your FAN and your uni password. So it's handy to keep those in mind as well. Okay, being and getting prepared for your study all week. We've sort of just mentioned that already. We've got lots of activities across the Flinders campuses in this week, but really orientation kind of takes a bit longer than just a week. So we'll have activities into the first 2 or 3 weeks of the semester that help you with study skills, writing skills, just sort of general introduction to university life, which you would have all had because you've already have a degree. But you know, as a refresher or just new to Flinders, feel free to explore those online as well. The Welcome Hub essentially is our student hub at Beckford Park, as well as the Sturd precinct. So have a look around for friendly faces with a Flinders t-shirt on. They're the ambassadors that will be able to help you, show you around, tell you where the best coffee is, answer any questions that you might have. There's a special flow topic on orientation this year as well. You can enroll in that for free via Okta and just explore lots of online content there as well. So if you're not sure what to do tomorrow or on Friday, you might want to explore the Finding Your Way at Flinders flow topic as well. And that's obviously available for everyone online as well. So in preparation for your travels to Australia, you might find that helpful as well. Lots of information and lots of support available for everyone. On Thursday afternoon, we'll have a session by a couple of the support services that are available. So the Flinders Uni Student Association, the Flinders Uni Speech Pathology and Audiology Association, the health services and counselling services. They'll all come and give a 10 or 15 minute sort of orientation talk to their services, so that you get a bit more information about them and have seen a face and a name, so you can approach them if you have any questions as well. Safety online, just like safety on campus. Now we're very aware that a lot of our learning and teaching is shifting to online, and just like we might not be aware what's going on in lecture theatres, often as lecturers we're also not really aware what might be going on behind the scenes online. So we're really committed to raising awareness about cyberbullying and abuse online as well as on campus, and we really encourage you to report and seek support and advice and have questions answered in whichever way, if you're uncomfortable in any situation, be it on campus or be it online. That support can come from your topic coordinators, can be your course coordinators, it can be any of the security staff or health services, anyone that's listed in these resources. So also, of course, as speech pathology department, as a group of lecturers, we're very committed to that, and encourage you to obviously obey to those rules, but also to feel free to contact us if in any situation you're feeling uncomfortable. Okay, and then there's a bit more around orientation. Now, I won't sort of overdo this, hopefully. Have a look at the Flinders website around orientation. There's lots of activities. There's an orientation planner for you to have a look at. There are social events on this week, both at the Bedford Park campus as well as the Sturd campus. So have a look online and find out more. On Flow, there's lots of other things around the library. We'll have a separate introduction to the library for you as well. So with your permission, I will just skip through that. But lots of information there, again, on the orientation website for you to have a look at. You can get mentoring support as well. Have a look at the mentoring website, but we also have, so there's a university-wide mentoring program, but we'll also have a speech pathology internal mentoring program, so that will roll out in the first few weeks of the degree as well. So we're really trying to support you in lots of different ways to set you up for success within the degree. Okay, so that was just what the college was sharing in terms of resources for you. Again, this will be on Flow after the lecture. But zooming in back into the Master of Speech Pathology. Now, about the structure of the Masters, you will have seen that you've been asked to enroll in 3 topics. Those topics are 9121, 9122, and 9123. And more or less coincidentally, you've got the topic coordinators for those topics present in the room at the moment. So I'm coordinating 9121, Lillian is coordinating 9122, and Jane's coordinating 9123. So if you have any questions about those topics when we have morning tea in a little while, then feel free to have a chat. But early on in the semester, in the second week, we'll come and chat with you and tell you a bit more about each of those topics as well. 9122 is sort of the placement and clinical skills focus. 9123 is the PBL topic. 9121. That's my laptop, isn't it? God, how does that ring? My laptop never rings. It's linked to my phone, so it'll stop in a second. Okay, so and anatomy, sorry, 9121 is sort of our introduction to the sort of introductory sciences professional studies, anatomy and physiology, linguistics and phonetics, and an introduction to research. But we'll have a separate session on 9121 and what to expect when we meet on Friday next week for our first anatomy lecture. So the PBL curriculum, I'll keep it really brief here because Jane will tell you a lot more about that in a lot more detail. But what will happen with PBL is that you'll be put into smaller groups, and those are your kind of your home groups for the semester, and you'll be studying with those groups and go through very systematically so real life speech pathology cases that we see in everyday sort of practice. And those cases have been carefully designed with clinicians in the field, with some pedagogical kind of background to them as well, so that you progressively unpack your existing knowledge and new knowledge and gaps in your knowledge around real authentic cases that we see in speech pathology practice every day. So it might be, might range from children with language development all the way to older individuals with degenerative disease, someone with traumatic brain injury, people who stutter, someone had a stroke. So all of those cases we come across in practice, and will get you to unpack your learning and your understanding around those. And all of that learning is scaffolded by and supported by resource lectures that sort of share some information with you and explain things, and clinical skills tutorials where you get to do hands-on practice of running an assessment or practicing an intervention, mixing thickened fluids, all sorts of different clinical skills that you'll need, practical skills that you'll need. So it's kind of 3 streams to the curriculum, and PBL is an integral part of all of that. We often talk about a spiral curriculum. When we talk about spiral curriculum, we're not talking about some hurricane that leads to total destruction, although it might sometimes feel like that. The goal is not to destroy your knowledge, but to really take it apart and to have a look at what you know already and what as a group you know already. Because we all know different things. We've got a sort of shared understanding of things, but then we also have our unique experiences that we all bring into the PBL scenario. And so sharing that knowledge and then exploring what you know already and what you maybe don't know already, and then going away and finding out and then bringing that back to the group on the second PBL session for that case, and sharing that knowledge again is a really, really good way of creating deep learning, because that learning is linked to your own already existing experiences and understanding. Someone might have a family member who's had a stroke, and so you can talk about their experiences. And so your memories are not just linked to a lecture somewhere that had a slide about someone who had a stroke, but you might remember it was your friend's grandma who had a stroke. And so these memories just form a lot stronger and a lot faster. And this is why we're quite convinced of the Pbl curriculum, but Jane will explain and talk about that a bit more. And so the spiral curriculum, just bringing that back to the spiral, really means things are kind of coming and going and coming back again. So it's about revisiting knowledge that you've had. So with the idea of the spiral curriculum, we're sort of working on the basis that at the beginning you're working out some basic facts and things that you learn about anatomy, for example, some of the structures. And we'll just talk about, this is the larynx, this is what it does, and this is the hyoid bone, and this is how it moves, and these are the vocal folds, and this is how they move, and that's why they move. So we look at structure and function, and we have lots of bits of information, like puzzle pieces, that kind of all make sense in their own right. But through the spiral curriculum, we kind of start putting those puzzle pieces together. And we put them together in a way that becomes increasingly complex. And you guys become increasingly confident and competent and independent at putting those things together. And so when we talk about a spiral curriculum, we're talking about taking these things, learning them, and then starting to apply them in ever more complex cases. So you might find that your Pbl cases become more complex and more unique as you go through the degree as well. Okay, so spiral curriculum you'll hear us talk a lot about. Now, just to give you a bit of an overview of all of the topics for the Masters, this is hopefully not too overwhelming, but you've got your 2 years. There's year 1 and year 2. This is the summer break, 2021, 22, and we're right here in semester 1 of year 1. So this semester we're talking about 9121, 9122, and 9123. And the next semester you'll be enrolling in the next set of 3 topics once you've passed 9121, 9122, and 9123. And then same in semester 1 next year, and in semester 2 next year as well. Now you can see these red arrows, don't worry about them in too much detail, but essentially what they mean is that these topics here are prerequisites for these topics there. So you'll be allowed to go into those topics once you've passed the previous semester's topics. Okay, so we're starting on one end and we're moving across this page all the way to the end of semester 2 of 2nd year, at which point you'll be allowed to graduate and be speech pathologists at entry-level competency. Okay, so these are all kind of progressing throughout. As we go through the semester, you might, questions might come up around, okay, so if I don't pass this topic, then what will happen next semester? And that's when we have a conversation. We'll bring out this piece of paper and we'll have a look and see how these topics can be arranged in a way that works for everyone and that adheres to the rules that we kind of have to work towards and within part of the university enrollment, but also because of the accreditation that we obviously have to work towards with Speech Pathology Australia as well. Now, I'll take a little break here for a second and have a look. I heard it sounded like there was a question, but no, there wasn't. Good. Okay, so that's our overview. I'll share that again. Okay, so do you have any questions so far about those topics? Or just the overview? I know this is sort of a bit, seeing it all can be helpful. It can be a bit overwhelming on day 1, especially perhaps. But at least you've got a bit of an idea of how you're tracking throughout the course. You'll see that these topics here in the middle are weighted a bit more heavily. They are 9-unit topics, and the last one is a 13.5 unit topic. It's essentially a reflection of having an academic and a placement component combined in those topics. So that's just why you see those being weighted slightly heavier. Okay, now each of these topics will have a topic book, and then there's a course book that is available for the master's overall with some overarching information about the course and placements and so forth. These are available on the master's general flow side for the course book, and then on each topic flow side for the topic books. Please do read the topic books because they really outline what the topic is about, what the learning outcomes are, what we're expecting you to do. Many of them will have a list of lectures or resources, assessment information. So do have a look at those topic books. Please do read them. We sometimes often have questions that relate to assessments or the topic in general that are clearly outlined in the topic book. So please do read the topic book because that information is there and will be helpful. Okay, and we might refer you back to the topic book if that information is in there. Now, troubleshooting, if you've got questions, if you're not comfortable with some of the aspects of your study, if you're unsure about things, then we've sort of got a few pathways for you as to who you can talk to with questions. Usually, your topic coordinator will be your first point of call because they're responsible for everything that's related academically or placement related to that particular topic. So if it's about anatomy and physiology, come talk to me as topic coordinator for 9121. Same for linguistics, phonetics, and research. If it's about PBL and everything PBL related, talk to Jane because she's the topic coordinator for that topic. If it's about placement and the clinical skills side of things, talk to Lillian because she's the topic coordinator for that topic. Okay, so really the closest context you have are the topic coordinators. If it's something about the course in general, if it's about your progression within the course, if it's about you withdrawing from topics before or after census date, any of the sort of bigger picture kind of things, that's your course coordinator. So you'd come and talk to me about that. Okay? If it's study related in general, but it's really not about a topic or the masters, but it's more about your approach to studying, if you're feeling overwhelmed, if you're not sure what to do, where to go, who to ask, then you can ask the student mentors, which we'll introduce you to in the first few weeks. The topic coordinators again. If it's really personal, you might want to talk to the health and counselling services that we have at Flinders that help in all sorts of ways. But there's also the student engagement coordinator, and that's Catherine Linnett-Young, who will join us soon and talk to her role as well. So she's a point of contact within the department that you can contact as well, and she'll be able to listen and help advise where to go next, depending on what issue you would like to raise. Okay, so there are a variety of people that you can talk to. Okay, we do email you and we do flow posts. So checking your emails and checking your flow posts is sort of an everyday kind of thing that we all do as we go through the degree. We'll be checking our emails and vow to respond within 48 hours. Same for flow posts and announcements on flow. If it's an announcement to everyone, we tend to use flow posts. I know up until now I've sort of emailed you directly, but from now on I will post it on flow so that you get an announcement to the whole cohort. But if you want to contact us individually, of course, use our email addresses. Flinders is for staff, the agreement or the rule is that it's first name dot last name and then @flinders.edu.au. So you can easily think up your email address that you want to use and contact us directly. If you have questions that relate, say, for assessment, for example, please feel free to post them on the chat communication forums on your respective flow site. We'll be monitoring those and we'll respond, and by responding everyone will get the answer. So that really helps us, because it's a good chance that you're not the only person with that question, but everyone will have a similar question, so we can share that with everyone really easily. But also, if you see someone's posted a question and you know the answer to that and we haven't responded yet, feel free to respond and say, no, actually that's on page 23 on the topic book, or no, Seb said the other day it's definitely only 12 minutes, it's not 15-minute video, or whatever it might be. Okay, so feel free to use this as a chat forum and support each other as you go through the degree. In saying all of this, do feel free to give us a ring. We generally don't get a lot of phone calls, except for when you're talking to a group of people and it's being recorded and your laptop starts ringing. So feel free to give us a phone call. Sometimes that's a lot easier than doing emails back and forth. We all have a phone number. You can Google it easily. It'll pop up on your screen. So do feel free to ring us, or make a time, and we'll catch up on level 7 and have a face-to-face conversation as well. So full access via lots of different modalities, and we are not like that. You don't have to be scared of us. We're here to support you and not to bite your head off. Okay. Lillian, I might postpone this slide for when you talk to students about 9122. Placement, you will have had an email from Wendy about placement requirements and what you need to do about those, your vaccinations and police checks and all of those things. So do have a look at those. I will mention about the supplementary exam period though. We do our very best to schedule all of our sub-assignments, assessments, exams, whatever type of assignment it might be, in that sub-week. So if you're not sure, please be available in that time so that you can sit the sub-exam then, okay? So just making that sure that's clear. Okay. And that's the important bit there. Placements next year, so your roster 3 placements, they depending on where you are, will start before the beginning of the semester, which usually is sort of the first week of March. So please keep that in mind. If you've got big travel plans now, then kind of try to arrange them in a way that you're available a week or 2 before the semester starts, because you might be on placement. We will tell you as soon as we can, but do keep that in mind. You've seen the emergency video earlier, so we won't go through that in detail. But one thing I'd like to encourage you is to have a look at this phone number. And if you have your phone on you, maybe just add this as a contact into your phones now. It's the Flinders Uni Security phone number, 088201 2880. You might not need it ever, and it's just wasting a couple of bytes in your phone. But if you ever need it because you're locked out, or you're stuck with your car, or you tripped and fell and you need help, you'll have it in your phone and you'll be able to ring them. They're fantastic guys that can come at any time and help you for whatever reason you might need help for. They're also able to escort you to your car. So if you parked in an overflow car park and you have to walk and it's dark because it's winter and your lecture ran till 5 o'clock and you're really not comfortable walking all the way to the car, ring security and someone will come with you. Okay, so there's lots of ways security will help us. Sometimes we ring them because the lecture theatres aren't unlocked or your tutorial rooms are still locked at 9 o'clock in the morning. Just handy to have that phone number, okay? But you'll find it on the Flinders website. If you Google Flinders Uni Security, that will pop up in big letters on Google as well. Now for any emergencies, like health emergencies, obviously 000 in Australia. But if you have at FMC in a room, tutorial room, or just in the hallway and there's a phone, hashtag 33# will get you straight to the emergency services within FMC as well. So keep that in mind for an important number as well. That could be fire at FMC, it could be an injury, whatever it might be. Okay, more housekeeping, first aid. There's some more links to that. I'll post them all on Flow and you can explore them in your own time. The timetable, I'll just talk to just really briefly because a few questions come up every year around the timetable. Timetable has changed a little bit, I saw this year. So what you'll see when you open your timetable is some color-coded entries into the timetable that represent different times of activities. And you get your timetable through your Okta when you go into your course information, my studies, my enrollments. There's my timetable up the top. You click on that and that brings up your timetable. Now, I've gone through that with a student the other day and it came up as a single week with all of the semester information superimposed in that week. That's helpful for you to kind of know where your busy days are and your not so busy days. But it does kind of not really make sense if you want to look week by week. So if you want to do that, there's a little button up the top, like a forward and a backward arrow. And if you click on that, then it sort of disappears and you just get week by week. So if you haven't figured that out yet, do have a look and hopefully that will make it a lot easier. The everything looks like, so this is our staff view. The colors might be slightly differently, but generally this is your overall, this is the entire semester kind of timetable, whereas the week by week timetable looks a little bit like that. You'll note on your timetable that on Wednesdays and Thursdays, starting in week 3 or 4, you'll have placement days set aside, so there won't be lectures or tutes or Pbl. They tend to be, and they really only are, on Mondays, Tuesdays and Fridays, whereas the Wednesday or the Thursday will be your placement day. For everyone online, until you join us, your Wednesdays and your Thursdays from week 3 or 4, so from late March, early April onwards, your Wednesdays and Thursdays will essentially be free, and we'll get you to make up for your placement when you join us in June, hopefully. Okay. So just a general introduction to the timetable there. Do you have questions around the timetable so far? No, you see your topics in there and it's all clear? Yep. Okay. Very good. Okay. I just saw Catherine join us. Catherine, would you mind coming down? So this is a good time to say hello and talk about the student engagement role a little bit. Watch those stairs there. They're tricky.
Yeah, it can be.
Okay.
Thank you.
They haven't turned it on. There you go.
Thank you very much, Seb. Hello, everyone. I've just been next door with the bachelor students with their orientation. So as Sebastian said, my name's Catherine. I'm Catherine Lynette Young. I'm part of the teaching team here in this wonderful program that you're joining. It's lovely to see you here today. So the reason that I've popped in to say hello, apart from the fact that you will see me next week as one of your lecturers, as my background and passion is teaching in child speech and language topics, the paediatric topics. You also may end up having a placement with me at STIRT Health to Go in interprofessional clinic that is based down at STIRT. But the reason that I'm here right now is to talk with you about the student engagement coordinator role. So I would just start by acknowledging the lands that we're on. I know that Sebastian will have done that at the beginning of today, but I always like to do that at the beginning of chatting with students, which is to acknowledge the Kaurna people as the traditional owners of the lands and waters that we are meeting on today, and to pay my respects to elders past and present, and that it always was, always will be Aboriginal land. So my role is for you to come and have a chat. If there's something that you're concerned about in terms of your well-being, in terms of where to go for support. So I know that Sebastian has talked you through all of those fabulous supports that we have here at university. There really are a lot. You have the advantage of being a small cohort, so we do get to know you all quite well, which is lovely. But there may be times where things arise where you're like, where do I go for that support? And rather than only looking it up online, you'd like to come and have a chat. And that's where I come in. So the college put together this role. So we have a student engagement coordinator in each of our programs across the College of Nursing and Health Sciences. And so our role is to be that first point of call. So if you're concerned about how things are going financially and you're wondering about what assistance can be available, or if you're thinking that you would like to have a chat with one of the counselling team up the hill in health and counselling, or if you think that you may be eligible for an access plan and you're not sure what an access plan is and whether you may be eligible, or if you're just concerned about managing your load and you would just really like to have a chat about how that's working for you and other ways that we can support you, then please email me and we can organise a time to have a chat. We got very good last year at being able to do that via video if you're not on campus, so we can do that via video chat, or you can come and meet with me upstairs on level 7 in our department. But it's really about making sure that you know who to come and have a chat with around who to go to for help. Obviously Sebastian is here as your course coordinator who has that overview of everything that you are managing and can particularly talk with you about academic concerns, and your topic coordinators will help you with your specific topic issues, but if it's generally about well-being and where to go for support, I'm your woman. Hit me up. Come and have a chat. Great to see you here today and to get started with you all. Any questions about that at all? Great.
All crystal
Lovely
clear.
to see you. We have, I think we've got 60 students next door with the bachelors today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good.
I'm glad to see that everybody made their way in here. I know it was a bit tricky today in getting in.
Yes, yeah. We'll work that out again. But
I know.
yep, that's
Anyway.
an evolving beast. But
It
thank
is.
you,
It
thank
is
you,
indeed.
Catherine, for your kind introduction. So, Catherine, as your point of contact, if you want to have a chat.
Excellent.
Awesome, thank you.
Lovely to see you.
All right, so we've only just got a few more slides that I'd like to go through with a bit more information, and then we'll do a few icebreaker games, because I'm quite aware that you've been sitting here just kind of being spoon-fed all that information, so you can get mentally ready. That we'll have a couple of icebreaker games, and that will include everyone online as well, so don't get too comfortable up there in the camera. So just parking on campus, you'll find that semester one officially starts next week and everyone's got their timetabled activities, not just first years, but second, third, fourth, whatever years, then things get a bit squeezy on campus car parks. So car park 1 is the one I pointed out a bit earlier, just above FMC, so FMC right here. Your closest one, it's the biggest one, your best chance to find a car park if you're here kind of before 9. After 9 it's generally full and you won't be able to squeeze in. There is another car park which is kind of sort of called the overflow car park 21. That's just down University Drive. That's the sort of second closest, and you can walk along and enter FMC. Actually, you'd have to go through the front entrance and enter FMC that way. The next one after that would be around the Sturt campus, but that's that's probably a 10-minute walk then to the medical centre or the health sciences building, which is right in that corner of that yellow frame there. So also not a bad bet for a car park, but just a bit of a longer kind of walk. There's a pay car park right outside of the level 4 entrance, but that's an hourly rate, so you'd have to pay for that. And if you're really stuck and really lucky, you might find a 2-hour spot on Flinders Drive, but you just need to make sure that you move your car after 2 hours because you get a ticket otherwise. So yeah, that's sort of your best car parking options. If you really go up the hill, there's a couple of really big car parks up here, but you just need to account for a 15-minute sort of hike down the hill and then worse up the hill on the way back. So yeah, that's Flinders parking for you. The first few weeks of semester are a bit chaotic. After that, magically it kind of falls into place and everyone's found their favourite spot and kind of worked it out. But yeah, do keep that in mind when you have early morning lectures and you need that extra 5 or 10 minutes to find a car park. We did have a few messages from previous graduates to beginning